Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and blessings of God. May we all find the peace and blessings of God and the mercy of God with us here and now. And I pray that anyone that's present is finding peace and being able to live with peace during these chaotic times. So, first we'll do just a recap of where we ended last time and continue. So far, I just want to start with reminding each other of the intention of this gathering. I encourage everyone to use the chat box to join me virtually. What I intend is that this gathering be an opportunity for us to vibe and discuss in a very down-to-earth, chill kind of way how we can live with a deeper awareness of our Creator in the here and now, in the present moment, and how that inner belief could really transform our perception, and how we can cultivate that together by practicing. So I really want it to be something that we can just sort of download together. And I know I'm using it as an opportunity. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Mina, for answering. I want to use these gatherings as an opportunity to really build this deeper rooted foundation in our hearts. Okay, alhamdulillah. So, the last verse that we talked about, that I had to kind of drop off quickly because the baby woke up, was from Surah 10, the chapter in the Quran 10, Ayah 10. I just want to start because I have a couple of friends here that are going to be joining. So the presence of the Quran in our lives, the Quran offers itself as guidance or like an instruction manual. So somehow we were dropped off in this perfect place that's a perfect dome, that's perfect distance from everywhere, with food magically popping off of the ground and water magically being sent down to us. And there's this speech that says, I'm the one who made you and I'm offering guidance to help you. And I'm the same one that offered guidance before through other messengers, and I'm the maker of the heavens and the earth and everything. And I'm here to help you. And there she is, Lily. So this concept of God consciousness that we've been discussing so far has been with the guidance of the Quran. Specifically, I think a subject that for me I haven't heard many people speak of, and it's been very challenging, even though I've been studying it for so long with my particular teachers. It's so challenging to really cultivate this consciousness of seeing the signs. Ayat is the Quranic word for it, and the Quran offers a formula that only through seeing the signs, witnessing the signs in the universe and in yourself, can we become aware of God. So my brother, may God have mercy on his soul, he and I used to vibe on this book that was about, from Imam al-Ghazali, that was knowing yourself and knowing God. And it's this very deep, deep, beautiful concept that only through knowing yourself, the one who knows himself knows his Lord. So how, right? Who teaches you how to read the signs? When did we ever learn how to read the signs? In school? No. Through religious classes? No. Through Sunday schools? No. I've never learned how to read the signs, but somehow if you're born into the Muslim faith or any faith, we're just by name, I guess, somehow just supposed to be believers, whereas the Quran really offers this process of learning belief in stages, but it's only going to happen through teachers guiding you along the way. Um, so I'll start with the last verse that we ended with, and then we'll start off kind of somewhere new. And again, I'm just using this platform. I have gatherings almost on a daily basis of remembrance to help me, and I still, most of my days are completely heedless and mindless, despite this intense effort to be more aware throughout the day. So for me, this is just another opportunity to sort of meet with friends and be able to use this opportunity to download together and really build together so that together, we become a more conscious group, and then the people around us can be reminded. And hopefully, I pray that through these reminders, consciousness is such a blessing. It's such a gift that maybe if we're receiving it, that light can shine on other people around us, inshallah. So the last verse we talked about was in the chapter of Jonah. It's chapter 10 in the Quran, Surah 10, more like passage. The word chapter is very minimal. But it said, we went through verses 8, 9, and 10. I'll just go to number 9 because that's kind of where I had to jump off really quickly. It says, Inna alladhina amanu wa amilu salihat. Indeed, those who believe and do good deeds. So a lot of people break down good deeds as like, you go do some righteous actions, right? Like you go feed the poor and blah, 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 blah. Whereas what I've learned is that any action, only when it's done with you seeing the presence or the manifestations of the qualities of God working through you or through others, that becomes a good deed. So it's Iman or belief that makes the deed righteous or good. It's the perspective. It's you seeing the names that makes it a good deed in anything. So those who believe and do good deeds, يهديهم ربهم بإيمانهم. They're being guided by their Lord with that belief. It's so beautiful. There's no break in the words. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. It's hard to try to break it down in English, but I will try to share what I'm getting from this ayah, and then we'll jump into the topic for today. Those who have this belief, and remember, belief, from what I'm learning and sharing, it's something that is gained or given through seeing the names of God in your life now, here and now. So when you remember last time we talked about in the first pillar of Islam, like the first foundational principle of this worldview called submitting to God, or otherwise known as Islam, is shahada, right? People say, oh yeah, I took my shahada. It's like, I made this testimony of faith. But in every single prayer, the ritualistic prayers are to be done 5 times a day just for your own spirit to be maintained. We say ashhadu, and the call to prayer, we say ashhadu. Again, it's like, I bear witness, I testify, I see. So you can only bear witness if you see. And the Quran is constantly, this is going to be the topic of today, is constantly asking us to see. Don't you see? Don't you notice? Don't you see? And the reality, if I'm going to keep it real, if you guys keep it real, is we're not really looking to see. We're just going about the day. I got so much to do. And that was the first thing that we talked about in the first session that we had that wasn't recorded, but the second and the third, I believe, were recorded and posted on YouTube, is that the ghafil, the mindless person, the heedless person, is the one who doesn't see signs and just thinks about, what do I have to do today? What am I going to do today? Whereas the intelligent person sees what God is doing with him or through him, and then only acts Bismillah. by means of the names of God or the presence of God flowing, acting through you. And that's where we want to reach, right? So yahdihim rabbuhum bimanihim. This doesn't say God guides them. It says their sustainer, rabbuhum, their teacher. Because Lily's on the line. Lily is a homegirl, mashallah, that joined us today. That I met for the first time at my brother's funeral. God bless her. So we talked last time about the word rabbuhum. Rab is the word that the Quran uses that's translated as Lord. But in Arabic, the word has to do with rububiyah or tarbiyah, which is rearing, like raising, the way we say we raise our children. So the word Rabb, that's also known as Lord, is so encompassing of so much of beautiful presence that has to do with taking care of someone, teaching someone, protecting someone, nurturing someone. And this is the word that the speaker is using to describe his first and foremost relationship to us. And then we discussed this before, Lily, but like he describes his key names as Rahman and Rahim, the one who nurtures us with so much love and so much mercy and so much care that it's everywhere and it's eternal. And this is the one that's speaking to us. In this verse 10:9, it says, Yahdihim rabbuhum bi'imanihim. With that belief that they're living by, they receive guidance through it. So the way and this is so beautiful. Like I will never get sick and tired of sharing this. It's so beautiful. When you feel inspired to do something, that inspiration is directly the quality or the presence of your Lord acting upon you, inspiring you, acting on you, calling you to respond. In fact, every feeling is an inspiration that comes. And the more that we see it and hear it and feel it and connect to it and become aware of it, the more we can fine-tune that relationship, the louder we will hear that guidance, the quieter the noise will become, the quieter the distractions will become. And this is why that meditation that we talked about is so important. I've been really struggling to do it, but I encourage everyone to set a timer at least 5 minutes a day. I would have done it now, but I'm just worried that the baby will wake up. I won't have time to cover the verses. But my teachers do practice using it through our halakas, through our discussions, setting a timer, 5 or 10 minutes a day in the morning. If you can, do it again at night. Just lie down somewhere quiet. And with each exhale, just feel praise and thankful to your creator. And the word of meditation is alhamdulillah. You can think of any image or any feeling that comes to your mind to just focus on that. But it's only by slowing down and really making this a constant practice. And my teacher said yesterday, actually, Sister Yamina, that if we don't discipline, we talked about the meditation practice again yesterday. She said, if we don't discipline ourselves to do this commitment, that means we're not really taking our forgetfulness serious. Only the patient, this is the analogy that they gave yesterday, only the patient that's aware of their illness is going to be steadfast about taking their prescription. So the prescription is remembrance, dhikr. In the Quran it says, وَلَذِكْرَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ, and remembering is the greatest thing. And how do we remember? Through seeing the signs. Everything comes back to seeing the signs, and nobody ever focuses on how do we see these signs. And I'll never forget, like it was 2011 or 2012, so many years ago. I walked into a basement in New York when I was studying in grad school, and I was looking for something to give me peace. I was so stressed. And I walk into a class, and there's a man who ends up being the teacher who I have for Quran, holding an orange and just saying, this exists. And I was so confused, like, what does this have to do with anything, this orange? But truly, it's a miracle. It's really like, where did this orange thing come from? How did it get this taste? How is it so? It's magic, but we don't see it as a sign. We don't see it as magic. It's just an orange. You buy it, it's $3-4 right now. Like, we don't even think about it as being magical. So, how do we cultivate belief? How do we cultivate consciousness if everything around us is just simply ordinary? And this is going to be the topic of today, so we're already touching on it. يهديهم ربهم بإيمانهم في جنات النعيم. You see, so they're being guided by their sustainer through this belief in, the literal translation is in paradise, in gardens of paradise, underneath which rivers flow. This attitude, when we're in it, it's like a paradise on earth. When you're feeling, I'm sure every one of you have tasted a moment of just feeling super connected and super aware of your maker, and that moment is bliss. But because we're so forgetful, we're in and out of it. So this practice of these discussions that we have, hopefully as long as we're given the opportunity, is how do we make this more steadfast? And the first thing that my teacher said yesterday, and I completely agree with it, it's been really helpful for me, is setting the timer, doing these meditative practices to slow down. Because if we don't slow down, we'll never be able to see the signs. Okay, so real quick, here's some verses that I just quickly Googled before we started today. Because Ramadan is coming up soon. Ramadan is the month of the Quran. It's the month in which the Quran has been revealed. So it's the time for us to rekindle this relationship with this speaker through his speech. And the speech is living and coming down here and now. Why? To guide us, to help us change our worldview so that we see the world completely for the truth that it is. What's the truth about it? Everything is a sign, like a mirror, that reflects its maker, or everything is artwork that reflects the artist. And the only purpose of this whole thing, I love this thing that we went through on Sunday's class. I had a Sunday class. It said, the pen of power that writes the universe is the same one that speaks in the speech. So this concept of the whole universe is like written by the pen of power, and everything is a letter or a word. If everything is a letter that we see, it just changes everything. That the things that we see and interact with is speech. And it's so beautiful, because then in order to read the Quran, we have to read the speech as well as the universe together. We can never separate them. And that's the only way to receive the light of the guidance, because then it'll change the way we see. And we ask one of the most beautiful prayers that's pretty common in Islamic tradition. I believe one of the companions would say it, of the Messenger of God, is, "Oh God, show us the truth as truth and give us the strength to follow it, and show us the falsehood as falsehood and give us the ability to avoid it." I mean, so in Surah, again, we said that in the Quran often, so far we've talked about a whole bunch of verses calling out our mindlessness. Like this word of ghafla, you guys are often mindless, right? So why are we being told that we're often mindless? Because it's like we're being called to remember. Here are some verses that we might come across, inshallah, during our Ramadan experience. So hopefully when you come across it, we can actually do the work that the Quran is asking us to do. For example, the Quran often says, "Alam tara kayfa." Don't you see how such and such and such? Don't you see how it's me that sends down the rain? No, I just thought it was raining. Like I didn't see rain being sent down. Was I supposed to see something? What was I supposed to see? Okay, so this is the time to pause, stop reading with your tongue, and read the creation. You see, you pause one book and you start reading the creation and think about it deeply. So the first word that ever was sent down to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of God upon him, was read, Iqra. So prior to that, and I was just listening to something about this human being, who's known as the messenger of God, was often going to the cave, this like out in the mountains somewhere, go to a cave for long periods of time. And what was he doing there? Really separating from the noise and staying somewhere where he can reflect seriously about the universe. Like, how does it exist? Who's the source of this? It's an incredible thing. It's really so incredible. But if we just take it as ordinary, and we do, because our lives are just so caught up and we're so in the routine that we don't see anything as extraordinary anymore, which is the blessing of having kids. I put it here. Kids are such a blessing because they're still new in the world. They're not like conditioned like us. So everything is still so extraordinary. So it wakens that part of your soul that really does remember that everything is actually extraordinary if we reflect on it. And then all of a sudden, after a long period of time and consistency in this reflective process of going to this cave, which we should all be visiting the cave, right? We should be reading the chapter of the cave every Thursday night or every Friday in Islamic tradition to remind us of this whole experience of people that escaped to a cave and what they did there and what their conclusions were, and what it means for us, and how do we go to our cave. How do we step away to really reflect on what's the purpose of all of this? And then all of a sudden, these words descend on him that are like, read. And he's like, I don't know how to read. He literally did not know how to read. And then the word again, that revelation came down, was read. So what was there to read? Like, why is the source, the creator, telling him to read when he doesn't know how to read? There was no book to read at that time. Read the signs. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. That's the words in Arabic of that first revelation. Read by the name, bism, by means of the name of your Rabb. Again, same word that is translated as Lord very simply. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, the one who gives you existence. So we're supposed to be reading the signs of our Rabb in this existence. That's how we start to live a meaningful life that's more deeply rooted in Iman, in belief. And the signs, so what are the signs? The signs point to the names of the qualities of the sustainer, the creator, the maker. It's disclosure. Everything is the way the sustainer decides to disclose itself to us. The words that we might see in the Quran are أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ. This is in Surah 67, Surah Al-Mulk, which is encouraged to read also very often daily. أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ صَافَاتٍ وَيَقْبِضْنَ. Don't they see, again, the birds above them with wings, how they flap them? Yeah, I mean, what was I supposed to see about that? The birds are flying, right? But you see a kid looking at the, I get to see it a lot now, so it's very cool for me, but you see a little kid looking at it and it's like, oh, how does that happen? And they're asking, you see, in the Quran, the principle is the originator, the one that originated us, made us in a particular way. And that way is called fitra. Our original nature is called fitra. Our fitra is a sign that points to, again, one of the names, and his name is Al-Fatir, the originator. So contemplation is key. I don't want anyone to think, oh, this is like what are we even talking about? It's not like a standard lecture, right? But contemplation is so important. We talked about a hadith where it said the Prophet, peace and blessings of God upon him, said, an hour of contemplation is better, superior to an entire year's worship, because it's the heart, it's the core, it fills it in, it fills it in with the feeling of worship. Without contemplation, without tasting the fruit, you can't really say, oh wow, thank you so much for this delicious thing. Without feeling love, you can't say, oh, thank you so much for this incredible feeling of love. We have to feel this existence to really know him in a deeper way, but that's only if we see the signs that will make that connection. Okay, now I am going to take this, join me on a little walk real quick, because I'm about to get real serious with you guys today. I am going to have all of y'all join me on my whiteboard real quick. I was able to take a picture of this so I can erase my homework and have y'all join me for something beautiful. Don't mind the Brooklyn vibes with the noise. All right, yeah, let me grab some. All right. So the context of this is going to be, let's see, that's better. The verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, passage 2, chapter 2, the cow, ayah 31. Ayah also means sign, 31. Also simply translated as verse, but it's really a sign, right? It says, وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And we taught Adam all of the names, asma, all of the names. Okay, what names? And there's people that break it down in different ways. In order to understand what names is the speaker talking to, we have to use the rest of the Quran to see, like, where else did he use this word? How did he use it? Or it, right? He doesn't have a gender. So then we go to Surah 7, Surah Al-A'raf, ayah 180, which is the ayah, again, my teacher, Sister Yamina, talked about yesterday. May God be pleased with her. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءِ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوا بِهَا. And to God, the source, belong the most beautiful names. So call on him by them. Okay? The next ayah I'm going to also just include in here is, the next 2 ayats. So we'll have 4 ayats kind of like in our minds as we continue this discussion. Surah 12, so the chapter of Yusuf, ayah 105. وَكَأَيٍّ مِّنْ آيَةٍ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ يَمُرُّونَ عَلَيْهَا وَهُمْ عَلَيْهَا مُعْرِضُونَ. But how many signs is there in the heavens and the earth which they pass by unthinkingly and they turn their backs? How many signs do they turn their backs? You see, like, the Quran is so beautiful because the speaker speaks to us in like a firm way, but with so much love. Like, look at you guys turning your backs nonstop, so mindless. So turn back. And then the other verses that we talked about were like, these most beautiful names belong to the most beautiful one, your source. So call on me by them. How do we do that? That's what this whiteboard is going to be about today. The last ayah, also, they're right together. So Surah Yusuf again, we did 12:105. This one's 12:106. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ. Oh, okay, so see, they have to go together. The first one was, but how many a sign is there in the heavens and the earth? That's everything in the universe, right? Everything in the heavens and the earth, which they pass by unthinkingly and on which they turn their backs. Turn their backs means you don't see it, right? You're not looking, you don't see. even if you're looking at it, but you're not seeing it. And the Quran uses seeing as something from the heart. The heart is what sees, and the heart is what becomes blind if it does not see the signs. The next one says, وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. And most of them, that's us, right? It's not them over there. We talked last week, like everything in the scripture, everything in the Quran is us. Whether it's Moses is us, Pharaoh is us. Every character is us. And the aspect of that points to us, right? Like what aspect of you points to greed? What aspect of you points to disbelief? What aspects of you point to this? In this ayah, it says, most of them do not believe without also ascribing divine powers to other beings beside him. We learn through Qur'anic tradition that the only unforgivable sin is shirk. Shirk is the Qur'anic word, which means associating power to create with anything other than the creator, thus giving a partner in creation. So if I think, oh, she was so nice to me, she's wonderful, when really that niceness in her is just a sign of its maker. She's only acting on this feeling that she was made. She's just acting through it. She's just given this feeling and acts through it. So she doesn't own the feeling. Oh, this water, it was so wonderful. This food is delicious. But the food can't actually make itself delicious. It has to do with your tongue, and it has to do with your brain, and it's this connection of everything, and everything is interconnected. Not any one thing has the power to create. And that's the sole teaching of the Quran. And I wrote this down too, mashallah. And I love the way my teacher put it. The sole purpose of the Quran is to teach us what? Anyone want to type it out as a pop quiz? No. Everything is everything. I vibe with that. The whole purpose of the Quran is to teach us something called Tawheed, which means the process of unifying the source as one and only one being that is beyond the nature of this world. That means beyond our imagination, beyond anything of this world, which just means infinite. All right. So the last part of that ayah that I don't even think we talked about actually from last week was exactly, it's a beautiful connection. Inshallah, if I can make it. Yeah, 10:10. Da'wahum. Okay, so those people that are being guided through their belief, and we said, it says in paradise, that feeling of being guided through your Lord and being in that state of belief because you're in that presence, or you're witnessing it, which is what our goal is, right? I'm just here with y'all trying to figure out how we can do it together through practicing. Ayah 10:10 says, Da'wahum fiha subhanak. So their da'wah, or their supplication, by the way, everything is supplication, right? It's not only when you raise your hands. Like if you go to drink water, you're really asking in a way, from a bodily way, oh, please quench my thirst. Dua, supplication. Oftentimes people teach, like the religious teachers teach, like dua, supplication is only when you pray or you ask for something, but really everything is a prayer. When you get up and you're about to move because you got to go do something, it's like you're asking your body, like, all right, let's move. And then your body's like, all right, command accepted. So da'wahum fiha subhanak. Their supplication, or their, it says their cry in it in this translation, fiha subhanak Allahumma. You're so beyond. So that state where you're in a state of paradise, look at the state of that believer. Subhanak. Right? Subhanak Allahumma. Like you, it means you're so beyond otherwise known as like beyond anything I know in this world, which is all imperfection or all passing. So you're beyond all of that. وَتَحِيَّتُهُمْ فِيهَا سَلَامٌ. And their greeting will be peace. All right, salam. You guys have felt at some point when you are, Tariq wrote, you're in constant communication with your Lord. Absolutely true, only if you're conscious of it though, right, Tariq? Like if you're not conscious of it, then you're cutting yourself off from that connection. تَحِيَّتُهُمْ فِيهَا salam. Their greeting in that state of being will be peace. Any one of you, when you're in this, when you've ever felt a moment of connection, look at this ayah. You can confirm it. You can say, I testify that that's true. You get this, and this is where the concept of angels comes in. All of a sudden, this sweeping presence of peace, like people say at my brother's funeral, Allah yarhamu, there was a sweeping presence of peace. And everyone, it was palpable. It was almost measurable. You can feel it. This is the angelic work or the angelic activity coming down to us with this salam. The word Muslim comes from the word salam. It's the person that is at peace, and we said this a couple of sessions ago, the person that's at peace with what's happening here and now. Why are they at peace with it? Because they know that everything is coming from the source, and they accept that they have no power. I don't have any ability to create, but I know the one that does, so I submit to that, or I surrender to that. And the word surrender is a lot more beautiful in a way because it means that you kind of have to throw up your hands and say, I don't have ability. I don't know. All of the names that the Creator describes himself as, we can only reach those names through us by saying, I don't have. Like, I don't have the ability to know. I don't have wisdom. I don't have power to control the situation right now. I don't have the ability to save a life. I don't have, and this is what the Quran teaches. As we said, the main purpose of the Quran is tawheed. La ilaha. La ilaha means, la means no. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. My sister Khadija's on the screen. Her name is Khadija Shakur. That's my sister right there, mashallah. Alhamdulillah, thank you guys all for joining us. I wish I could see y'all, but so tahiyyatuhum fiha salam. Right. So if at any moment, right, throughout the day, you feel like something's bothering you, or if it's aggravating you, you're annoyed by something, and this happens to everybody, right? Don't stunt, right? Everyone's gonna feel this. Here's the guidance. That feeling of irritation inside, stop and be like, okay, something is wrong. That feeling that comes to you is alerting you. It's like an alarm, like, hey, you're doing something wrong. So observe it, right? Like, okay, thank you for sending me that feeling. I'm doing something wrong with my perception. I'm not seeing things right. Because if I'm seeing things right, دعواهم فيها سبحانك اللهم وتحياتهم فيها salam. Then my supplication is subhanallah, I see you, you're amazing. And the greeting back on them is peace. All right, I feel peace. Whenever you don't feel peace, that salam that makes you Muslim, something's off there. And look at the rest of this ayah. It says, وَآخِرُ دَعْوَاهُمْ, and the last supplication they have is Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise is due to the one who is taking care of the whole universe with me as well. I'm included in that. So anytime, we're all going to get upset, right? Ramadan is about to expose everybody. Everybody's about to be exposed about all the things that bother you, because when you're fasting, your weaknesses all come out real quick. So anything that angers you, let's say weakness, anger, any feeling, anger, weakness, I don't know if y'all type something, I don't know, whatever it is that we feel throughout the day, it points to this feeling is like an alarm. It's like an alarm, right? It's coming down. There's something coming down. Like, thank you for waking me up to check me because I lost myself there. I lost my state of peace. The Muslim, remember, is the one, it's a state of being, right? When we're in the state of taslim or Islam, then we accept what's happening here and now. My Quran teacher, mashallah, God bless her, she's a PhD of quantum physics. So she's all about here and now. All that's ever in existence is right here, right now. The past doesn't exist, the future doesn't exist, and it's really cool to think about. So the Muslim is the one that accepts here and now and makes peace with it. Makes peace or salam with it, right? I love whiteboards, by the way, mashallah. I think that really, really captures things. So whenever you get a feeling, something bothers you, annoys you, aggravates you, stop immediately. We have to do this practice of stop, pause, breathe, take a deep breath. This is an alarm, a sign. A sign. It's an ayah, right? We were trying to practice seeing the ayahs. How do you see ayat? In yourself and in the universe. We went through a couple halakas ago. It was an ayah that said, we will show you the signs, a verse of the Quran that says, we will wake up call. I love that. Truly being present. I love that. I love that. Great, great language. Jealousy, envy, great. Thought it. Thank you for sharing. The ayah said, we will show you our signs. Sanurihim ayatun. I don't want to mess up the ayah in Arabic, but we will show you our signs in the heavens and in your own self until it becomes clear to you that this is the truth. That's an ayah. That's guidance. So anytime you get a feeling that, let's just say, bugs you, usually we're not even aware of it, right? We just let it take over and then it controls you. You're like, oh, what? Today I was going crazy. Like, I completely lost my peace. You find yourself getting angry, you yell, you curse, you might break something, depending on how bad your temper is. Or maybe you just, disappear, you fall off the charts, whatever it is that you do. Whenever you leave your state of peace, it's an alarm. Wake up. Only if you can step outside yourself and kind of look at yourself like, whoa, what is she doing? What is he doing? She lost her state of peace. And that awareness for me only comes with this practice of meditation where I can practice to slow down, like we've been talking about. So the feeling comes, it's an alarm, it's a sign. It points to a need. A need. This is abd. This is what the Quran means by our ubudiyah. Abd means so whoever created us, engineered us, that we're 100% needy all the time, nonstop. We have endless needs. Think about it. Oxygen, water, love, companionship, friendship. What is it called? In prison, when they socially isolate people, when it's called solitary confinement, it kills people because we have a need for being around people and conversing and friendship. We have endless needs. We've been created that way by whoever made us. Why would he make us that way? Like, why would whoever this maker is make us with infinite needs? Anyone? I'm gonna take a moment, let y'all think about that while I go grab my water. Thank you, Tariq, for sharing the ayah. Anyone have any answer to that? Why would we be created with so many needs? To seek refuge in him. I love that. Oh, I love that. Great, mashallah answer, Harry Young. Beautiful. So when you feel needy, immediately you ask for help. It's like, cover me. It's like, I need help. Nowadays with COVID-19, everybody's praying. Everybody who would have never been praying is praying because nobody wants to die, because everyone's afraid. So whenever your needs are exposed, it's like the most raw, easy, quick way to seek refuge. I like that. Protection. And how do we seek refuge? The need is a call. It's like somebody calling you. Hey, boo boo. And most of the people, I'm not even going to mention their name on this halakha, don't even answer when I call. But the need is like a call. And it's calling you to connect with a name. A name that he is inviting you to connect to that belongs to him. So, man, I just lost my job. How are we going to pay these bills? We got this rent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sounds like you need some money. It sounds like you need some provision. It sounds like you need something to be provided to you. Well, guess what? Al-Razzaq is what he reveals himself as in the Quran. The one who provides you endlessly with all of your needs. Connect. Whatever it is that you need. Every need points to a name. And that's how he calls us to connect. And my teacher calls it, the need is like a key. She doesn't say call. She says like a little key that unlocks the treasure of the divine names. Because only when you feel that need can you really be humble and say, wow, I realize that I am not the provider. La ilaha, vulnerability. Beautiful, Tariq. Abd is all about vulnerability. And in this culture, well, I mean, probably in every human culture, I mean, I don't know, I feel like just not being comfortable with your vulnerability is just comes with the territory. You got to hold your ground. I grew up, my mom saying, like, you got to be a lion in the jungle. Like, it's just everybody feels like they got to fend for themselves and take care of everything themselves. And remember, alhamdulillah, I love when we come back full circle. The first thing we ever discussed in this halakha is the heedless one, al-ghafil. When Quran constantly uses this word about the mindless person, al-ghafil is the one who gets up in the morning and says, what am I going to do today? Thinks about what am I going to do today? Whereas the intelligent person thinks, what is God going to be doing with me? So I hope this is helpful for you guys. It's not easy to remember all the time, but it's really important to start practicing it. This is how we see the signs within our own selves, right? Everything at the end of the day, today we were talking, a friend and I, oh, my kid, I don't really know how to help him. He feels like he's doing this. And I started feeling so bad, like, oh, I wish I could help. And then all of a sudden, I swear, like lightning, like this reminder just came, like, we need help. Nasir. That's the only one who presents itself in the Quran as I'm the one who will always help you when you reach out to me. Remember, to him belong the most beautiful names, so call on him by them. It's an open invite 24/7. And the deeper that you expose yourself to your vulnerabilities, you're welcome, my brother. The deeper you expose your own vulnerabilities, the deeper you'll know your Lord, right? So it's a beautiful thing when you notice that you need something. Like, oh, somebody's acting up. I can't believe this person did me wrong. I can't believe this. Okay, something's agitating you. What is it that you need? Reflect on it. Maybe you need reconciliation. Maybe you need peace and love. And, every one of those is a name. It's whoever creates. Remember, everything that's happening, the only way to make peace with it is to be like, all right, this is being created. Somebody, let me pause. Somebody is sending this situation. Everybody's tripping about COVID-19. All right, let's pause. COVID-19 was created by the same creator that created the heavens and the earth. Let's just pause and relax. Let's just make peace with it right now. This is what it is. And consequently, deeper you get to know yourself. Exactly, Tariq. And what we talked about in the beginning is it's in Imam al-Ghazali's book. I'm not sure. I think it's a prophetic hadith. I don't want to say something wrong, but it's the one who knows himself knows his Rabb. Because, and this is the other thing I wanted to add to this actually. The Quran says that the human being, with the creation of human beings, that God was going to create Khalifa al-Ard. Khalifa, this concept of vicegerent, or I don't know what exactly the translation is, but representatives of God on earth. And how are we representatives on God on earth? The one who, Jalila, mashallah, so good to see you. The one who gives you the need is the one who fulfills your need. Your sign is for you to read. Woo! So call on him. So deep, so beautiful. Love it. Love it so much. And everything that's unfolding in your life, I like how she said, your need, your sign. Because any drama or stress or anything that's happening in your life is specifically your intervention plan that you need to heal your ego, your I. All right, so let's just go in a different color real quick, because the biggest block to Tawheed, there's a few actually, but in yourself is this concept of I. Like, I is nothing more than Abd. Abd is just the one who's needy on God. I is like this false concept that we're independent, or I'm the one doing, or I'm the one being. Whereas the truth is, you're not doing or being anything. Everything is done unto you and being on you only as a way to be connected to the name. That's it. And so Khalifa, this concept of creating us as Khalifa on earth, is creating us as representatives of God on earth by reflecting like mirrors. So the word for Khalifa, that's translated by my teacher that I love, is a conscious mirror. That's how we can act in the name of God, is by being conscious mirrors who reflect his names. And when you reflect his names, there's no room for I, right? It's not Sarah anymore. It's the one who's been given by God, or the one who's only channeling through God. It's not, Khadija, Jalila, Harry, Ben, blah, blah, blah. It's more representatives of God. And everything just becomes this constant prayer or message of God. And then all you see, the goal is that all we see is God. And then that's the goal where we're taught through prophetic tradition, is ihsan, where you're in the fractals. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Exactly. There's this beautiful concept that everything, like the human being is the microcosm of the universe. So I vibe with that concept of fractals. Everything within us is also made, we're the micro version of everything in the universe, which goes to show that there is a single one, right? A single one that is unique, that can be the source of both, since they're parallel, the universe and our own selves. I suppose that's enough for now. What I would love to do is give everybody homework, because that's what I've been given, and that's what really helps me in my practice. And I don't think it's possible without it. وَمَا يُؤْمِنُ أَكْثَرُهُمْ بِاللَّهِ إِلَّا وَهُمْ مُشْرِكُونَ. Most of them, so this is saying they do believe, but most of them don't believe without also committing shirk. So we're all doing it, right? And the way to continue on this journey of Tawheed and Ikhlas. Ikhlas is the word used for pure, sincere belief in only the oneness of God, and not seeing anything else in our perception, in our feelings, And we ask God to be given that, and to be protected from shirk. So this is the way we can start to cultivate consciousness. The homework would be breathing. I'm going to always end with this breath thing until we move on to the water thing if we get a chance, because breath is the greatest need, and it's truly a miracle. Breathing is a miracle. Witnessing someone that you love breathing is a miracle. Witnessing yourself breathing and actually watching yourself breathe. If you set a timer for 5 minutes, lay down somewhere where you can just have a moment and just listen to your breathing, it's a miracle. I'm going to use we have 2 minutes left. I'm going to use these 2 minutes real quick to walk us through a quick little reflection on breathing. I'm going to have to find it. It's Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, sis. If anybody wants to join this practice of breathing, then I'm just going to read a quick little summary. So when we learn in school about anything in the universe, breathing, the way the trees grow, the way the fruit comes, water, everything, they cover the names. The names are never revealed. Covering the truth is also called kufr in the Quran. It's a way to cover. What I'm trying to do in this series that hopefully we start like making small videos for is discovering the truth that was hidden in all of these miracles. The first one is in the miracle of the breath. So we have 1 minute. I'm going to just, inshallah, we end exactly at 9. So I just want everyone to maybe just close your eyes and listen to your breathing as I talk through this quick little summary that I wrote on my re-exploration of what happens when we breathe. Remember, I wrote this actually before I saw my brother, Allah yarhamu, take his last breath, and now it means even more to me. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. When you inhale, your diaphragm gets ordered to contract, muscles get ordered to contract, just so that air can be pulled in like a vacuum. So someone is compelling, controlling, powering, and ordering for that air to be sucked in like a vacuum, and you have absolutely no part of it. Inhale. The names, the compeller, the powerful, the orderer. Air is said to have more than 100,000 bacteria and virus in it, is drawn into the nasal cavity. Whoever creates the air also creates the nasal cavity and makes it so subtly designed that there's cells inside that release mucus that is made sticky just to filter dust and pollen, and then separate enzymes to kill bacteria, all as a first line of defense for your protection. What names do you see there? That's just at the nasal cavity, at the wisdom of how, and the mercy and the love of how it's designed. I see designer, most wise, protector, so subtle and gentle. You see names revealed. Why would this being be revealing itself through our breath? Through the creation of this whole thing? So that we can be aware of that presence with us through our breathing, through ourselves. Someone is taking perfect care of us and the whole universe. And if we don't see it, how can we trust? How can the trust be so deep that you can live in a state of taslim, which is my goal, of just constantly seeing, like somebody tells you, oh, you just got robbed. You're like, Allahu Akbar. You're just like unfazed by any news because you're so in the presence. You're so sure of that presence with you nonstop that nothing can shake you. That's my goal. All right, so it's 9:02. We stopped at the nasal cavity. I have a bunch of this. If anyone wants it, reach out to me. I can hit you up with the document that I composed about breathing and all of the names that we can get acquainted with through our own breath inshallah, and then get more acquainted with names as we go. I'm so glad you guys could join me. I pray at the end of this gathering, may God increase us in light and our insight. May we be gifted from wisdom and light and knowledge. لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. We have no knowledge except that which you teach us. إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. Only you are the teacher, the most wise. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. All praise and thanks is due to God for the opportunity to channel with you guys and download with you guys. And peace and blessings of God on the messenger who brought us this message, because otherwise we would be in complete darkness. May God bless and raise the prophet. And the final thing I have is just if you can pray for my brother Muhammad. I've been using his laptop that he gave me. So I pray he gets rewarded for any goodness. May God bless him with elevated ranks, a huge smile, infinite mercy, infinite forgiveness, infinite pardoning. He was 34 when he passed, for those that don't know, and he passed on February 2nd. And I got to be there to witness this journey into eternity. May Allah really bless him and raise him among the most righteous. Grant him the highest paradise. Ameen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Peace and blessings of God upon you all. Salam.